no money, that's an asshole. It wasn't a phase.
Senior Citizen Podcast. We are finally back with an episode that I've been longing to do with one of my bands not my band, one of my favorite bands in this scene, Sick Enough.
Hey.
Hi, Eddy.
So what? Favorite band?
It's
awesome.
one of my favorite bands. There's something so nostalgic, so fun about the music that takes me right back to 2012.
That's the vibe.
I think I peaked in 2012. I don't know about you, but...
Oh, I definitely, I mean, it was a great time, but yeah, we're glad that people still love that type of music now. Our goal is when we reach a certain point that we can start a petition to bring back Myspace, and then hopefully from there we can,
I think people would be for it at this point because we're all just over Meta and all the lawsuits against TikTok. So, I mean, why not?
For sure. Yeah, that's our main goal. Forget like bringing back like the old school emo pop punk vibe. We're just trying to build enough influence to be like, all right, here's a petition, bring back Myspace. You know what to do.
Forget the VMAs, forget the Grammys.
None of that.
Just
don't care about any of that. You just that's all I want. I just want MySpace back. I'm kidding. Yeah, that was a fun time. I don't know if did you have a MySpace?
I did not have a MySpace. I was too young for MySpace. I had a Facebook.
No worries. Yeah, no, MySpace was really fun. I remember like it made you do like HTML stuff back in the day, and I remember there was like this thing where, for anybody who's listening that knows what I'm talking about, you could do like during the holidays, you can set up a code where it'll be like snowing on your profile.
Right.
But it was like an HTML thing. So it's like you feel like once you were able to figure that out, you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm a web designer now. I know what to do.
Yeah, I can code.
Yeah, I can code. Easy, right?
I would have had such a blast with it because I did, when I was in college, I did get into like some coding stuff for the website, and it was like trying to design it like the right, like user-friendly way. So I think snow would have been like the perfect touch for it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Going back to the band, tell me a little bit about how you got started, because it wasn't on MySpace.
For sure. Definitely not on MySpace. So how we got started. So fun fact, even though the band officially like went public about a year ago, like a year and some change, this project has actually been in the works for about 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had left my previous band, and I was just kind of in a weird spot with music where I was just kind of writing stuff that was meant to fit to that specific band, not really writing for the sake of just writing, which for any artist, it's like when you start to feel like you're limited by what you can create, you start to lose your passion for it. So at that point, I was just like, I'm feeling some kind of way. Let me just write a song for the sake of writing it. And then that's how we wrote The Way I Am. I wrote it in like one sitting. Then after listening to it a couple times and sharing the demo with some friends, and they were like seriously suggesting for me to put it out, I was like, okay, well, let me go get it recorded. So I recorded with Andrew Wade up in Orlando. And yeah, after that point, I just kept working with him. We wrote 4 songs together, or recorded 4 songs together. But like the reason why it took so long is a combination of the pandemic being a big thing, but also, to be completely honest, it was mostly myself just being super self-conscious, because in my previous band I was a bassist and I did some singing here and there, but never been a frontman like ever.
Really?
Oh yeah. So I was freaking out about that concept of like, oh my God, I need to be a frontman, and like, what does it take to do that? And I would just like look at videos of the frontmen that I looked up to and just being like, I'm never gonna reach that level. Why should I even bother? And it kind of slowly just started to forget about it. The songs I recorded were collecting dust. And then pandemic happened, and it was a very devastating and sad time for a lot of people. But I also know for a lot of other people, it was a moment of realization where they were able to kind of look at their life and be like, what am I doing? Like, I'm doing something that I'm clearly not passionate about. I'm not getting any younger. I should go ahead and take that chance to do something that I love. And that's where I decided to just be like, all right, I think I need to pursue Sick Enough, like officially. So I really started to get serious. I started reaching out to people. That's how I was able to meet Jared and David. We started filming music videos. Once we got to a certain amount of like content, that's when we were like, all right, it's time to put it out, and that's a year from today.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I love that you're telling me all this process that you went through in finally building up that courage to launch everything.
Yeah.
And the songs are revolving around, you know, mental health and anxiety and dealing with like, why am I the way I am?
Exactly.
I'm an anxious piece of shit.
Yep.
Take ashwagandha, by the way. I started taking it. I haven't been anxious since. But no, I love the connection. I love that it's very real. It's very real emotions, and those things are coming from the heart. As being someone who observes a lot of bands and has friends in this local scene, I've seen people that have so much talent and they have so much potential, and they're in bands that are just very limiting. And when you see them finally step away from that and just work on their own project, their own thing, and what they've been, you know, mentally cooking,
Yeah.
you see the growth. You see a much better product because it's not forced.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited that this is like an example of
Cool.
something that really worked out.
Thank you.
You have thousands of streams on Spotify. It's doing very well. How have you taken this, you know, this result?
It's been, I mean, it's been absolutely wild, and just I cannot be more grateful of just the support that we've been getting in such a short amount of time. A part of me, you know, with putting the music out, like, yeah, it's very just like 2000s pop punk. We do try to add some more like modern elements to it to make it more contemporary, but yeah, I was just like, yeah, I'm sure people find it a bit nostalgic, but that's probably as far as it'll go. But no, it's been very impactful, not so much from the fact that people like the music, which is obviously great, but what I think has been the most important for us is the fact that people have been saying like, hey, I heard your song and like, this is exactly how I feel. And for me, that's the biggest compliment. Not so much that they like the song, but that they relate to it. Because I wrote the songs in a place where I was just like, this is how I feel. And I'm just hoping that somebody else can share in that feeling. And knowing that there is somebody else who does, to me, that's a mission accomplished.
For sure. And you do hear a lot of people saying that when they're super passionate about the music that they've produced and they've put out. And, you know, we hear super talented artists say, I'd rather fill a room of 50 people for the right reasons than 50,000 for the wrong ones.
Exactly.
And I think that's the right mindset to have at the end of the day. Someone in your band, Jared, has been on the show. We love him very much.
My boy.
My boy. You need a lawyer? Go,
Yeah.
Jared.
Jared, Last Disaster. You know, what's so crazy is the way that I connected with him. It was also during COVID. When I finally decided, okay, I'm going to start taking this a little bit more seriously, I went on like a pop punk Facebook group. I was just like, hey guys, looking for a bassist. And he messaged on it. He left a comment on it. And then I had a brief talk with him, but I noticed that he had one mutual friend. And I reached out to that person separately, and I'm like, hey, do you know this person?
Yeah, he's a serial killer.
Yeah. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's the vibe? What's the vibe? And she's like, oh, he's a really nice guy. He has this band that you should check out. I'm like, oh, what's the name of the band? He's like, oh, Last Disaster. I'm like, oh, can you send me a link to it? And she sent me the College Try EP.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I heard that and I'm like, he's hired.
He's got the sound.
He's got the sound. It was absolutely amazing. And just from that alone, I was already like, okay, this is great. He definitely understands pop punk much deeper than I. Like, I consider him like a pop punk historian, practically. He really knows a lot about that. In fact, he really knows a lot about hockey, which for some reason overlaps heavily with pop punk.
Yeah, whether it's baseball or hockey, like those are just
knows his
for
stuff.
some reason all connected.
Exactly. So, and what was also kind of a blessing in regarding the situation was that because we met during COVID, we were obviously quarantined. We weren't actually meeting each other in person. So we were placed in a position where we would just like talk for almost like a year before we actually met each other in person. So that was a great way to kind of build a friendship ahead of time. So when we finally met in person, it was like, oh yeah, this is the person I've been talking to. It kind of felt like it's odd where it's like, it feels like an online friend from a different state that you've been messaging for a very long time. And then you finally get to meet. It was like that, but it's like, he lives like, what, 40 minutes from me? But that's just the dynamic back then.
Yeah.
That's just how it was.
COVID was a very weird time.
It really was.
But what I was heading to with Last Disaster is that I remember talking to Jared and I was like, listen, what you do, it's like neck deep, but better.
Yeah.
Because I was never like the biggest neck deep fan, but now like what he's doing, I was like, ooh, I can listen to this one.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where to place Sick Enough. Like, what are the inspirations? I know he's your historian. I'm sure he also helped on the frontman issue too, because he's a frontman in his own band. So it's like,
Yeah,
he's got your back.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, him and everyone else in the band has been super helpful with like helping me fight a lot of my my self-consciousness and self-doubt. But yeah, with him, to answer that question regarding like how he's helped, it's just mainly been encouraging me and just reassuring me at the end of the day. It's like, hey, look, sometimes you just gotta do it. It might suck the first time, it probably will, but the only way you get better is by actually doing it. So, and that kind of applies across the board with anything you start
for everything.
Yeah. So as far as where I would put us and influences, I would say the main ones for sure are Simple Plan, Sum 41, Motion City Soundtrack, and a little bit of Bowling for Soup, I'd say also.
A lot of old school.
Yeah. Very much that. Kind of tying into all that, but when it comes to the more modern stuff, we do look at a lot of like pop music as well, just for kind of influence regarding like how can we approach things from like from a synth perspective or just from a general production perspective. But yeah, we still want to kind of have that baseline of like drums, guitar, having that powerful punchiness that you would get from a pop punk track, but still trying to implement more of what you hear in the radio, like more where it's like a little bit more open, but just more production. In that regard,
the tinge of sarcasm and sassiness in the lyrics. And
the lyricism is full-blown Motion City Soundtrack and Bowling for Soup.
I see the Bowling for Soup a lot, actually. Yeah. Wow. When you were saying that the first time for everything is gonna suck, I do have to give you a very honest thank you. This is post the show, the Halloween Haunt show, and I remember my first time emceeing an event about a little over a year ago, and it was a terrible experience. Halfway through the show, I wanted to cry. I wanted to go home. I just found myself standing outside. I didn't even want to listen to the bands. And in contrast to that, last night was a beautiful experience. Thank you for taking care of everybody. I know it was your first time booking a show, but I could tell everybody had fun. Everybody had a good time. And the bands overall, they really had the opportunity to put their best out there.
Yep.
And it reflects. So, it was your first show. I suggest keep booking shows because you know how to do the thing.
A lot of people have been telling me that, especially after last night. And I was kind of in a position where that show was going to be kind of a one and done for Miami, just because of the challenges that come with booking a show in Miami, as I'm sure you're very well aware. So I'll probably book more shows in the future, probably like in the Broward County and further north. But I feel like when it came to this show in Miami, Hometown Haunts, it was kind of like it was lightning in a bottle. And I'm just going to accept that was everything working out as best as it could be. And I'm just happy with what happened. I'm just going to take the W and leave it at that. I'm not going to get greedy and try to set up another show. It's like, this worked out as best as it could.
Listen, I am personally done trying to book shows in Miami. That is, it's not on my to-do list. It's not on my want list. I think after my only one, I've been burnt out. I will focus on Broward and Palm Beach. But
absolutely.
For anyone trying to book a show in Miami, what sort of tips can you give them? What's the one thing that you look back on this and say, man, I should have done this instead? Or I tried this and it worked out. Is there any sort of advice you could give? For
sure. So general advice, I feel like the perspective that I had that was very helpful was that, I'm obviously in a band and I've been in bands. So I've experienced all different types of show promoters who had very different approaches, some being a little bit more organized and some not so much. So I was just kind of thinking back of like, okay, from the perspective of a band, what would be the most valuable for me when it comes to like a promoter sending me information or providing me details, and just thinking of it like that. And I was able to pull specific examples from promoters that I've worked with that they would go as far in advance as being like, okay, I'm going to send an email to all the bands with all the details, very comprehensive with the schedule. And then from there, setting up a group chat with everybody so we can discuss backlining, things like that. So all that to say, core element is communication 100%. Even then, I still felt like there were some holes in communication that I felt like I could have done better with, but that was just because I was just all over the place. The one thing I did learn, which I kind of knew but didn't realize until I was in the moment, it's like, it is no surprise that it's hard to get a hold of the promoter the day of the show because they're being pulled in like 8 different directions. And after being in that position, I'm just like, oh my God, I totally get it. I mean, I've never gotten on a promoter's case for not answering my text, but I'm just like, now I get it. And now I'm just going to be like, next show, I'm just not going to bother them. Like if I need something, I'll try to figure out the best way that I can, but I'll try to avoid reaching out to them as best I can. But yeah, core answer, communication is probably the biggest element. And then also just pulling as many favors as you can and just reaching out to as many people, because with a good scene, people are willing to pitch in and help any way that they can. Perfect example is obviously you with sponsoring the costume contest. That was absolutely cane and clutch. You also absolutely crushed it. That was such a fun experience. Everybody who was part of the contest was very happy with how it was run. The people who I spoke to also who received the prizes were very happy with the prizes.
I mean, the prizes were great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely wanted to make it worth their while. And like, yeah, I think everybody really enjoyed it. Yeah, so it's just also a testament to the people that you have working alongside with you. So thank you again for being a part of that.
No, thank you for the invitation. And I did ask that question from a very honest standpoint because organizing shows is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Respect your promoters out there. I have things here and there that I don't like about certain promoters that I see them doing, but you know, everybody manages things how they want, and if you're in disagreement, then just don't work with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do want to commend you on a great job. And on top of everything, it was your birthday, so you were pulled in a million directions on your birthday, and I don't even know if you really enjoyed it.
I did. In fact, what was so funny was a person who came to the show, which is a friend of mine, Rena. If she's listening, shout out to her. She gave me a birthday pin. So, and they were like, put it on. So I wore it the entire show, and I kept getting people telling me happy birthday. I felt like I was in Disney World
with the birthday pin.
Yeah, just because when you go down to Disney World or Disneyland, you have a birthday pin, and you'll have like the cast members say happy birthday, but it's like you say thank you, but it's also like you're kind of paid to tell me this. So but when you have random guests tell you happy birthday, it's like a little extra special because it's like you didn't have to tell me that, but thank you. So it was fun. I very much enjoyed that, and then. Yeah, they caught me by surprise at the end of happy hour set with the cake. With the cake, that totally caught me off guard. I got a little teary-eyed with that because that was amazing, and hands down, not even joking, like best birthday of my entire life.
Oh,
this is definitely going in the books.
I love to hear that. I saw the cake thing happening. I was sitting by the window. I saw them grabbing it, and I was like, where is he? Like, is he going to pop up? But you were on stage, and I was like, this is fantastic. Yeah. That's going to be the perfect surprise.
For sure. But yeah, so for context, for anyone that was that's watching or listening, so yeah, the happy hour had asked me to join them on stage for their song White Girl Drinks to sing the bridge, which was a lot of lyrics. That was a challenge to learn, but somehow figured it out. And I did my part, no big deal. And then I gave Nate his mic back, and I was starting to walk off stage. Eric, the guitar player, he pushes me back, and then at that moment, I'm like, "What's happening?" And then sure enough, I see the cake. And I'm just like, "Oh no!"
That's so cute.
Yeah, it was a really funny moment.
Oh man, we've talked a lot about the past, the present of Sick Enough, how it's been. Now, what's up next for Sick Enough?
Oh boy, what's up next? So, new songs. We've already recorded a few that we're going to be releasing periodically. We actually played the next song that we're releasing at our show. It's called Trauma, and just from the name itself. But yeah, it's kind of like our take at a love song or a breakup song because every band needs to have one.
Right.
But I felt like I didn't want to do your conventional like song where it's about, oh, this person I was so in love with and they broke my heart. I was like, let's kind of approach it more from like what would Sick Enough say when it comes to somebody who you were really close with and then they messed you up. And it's like, oh, well, they gave me trauma, so thanks for the trauma, I guess. So yeah, the song is called Trauma. I'm really excited for it to come out. It should be hopefully by this month or next. and then just more songs coming out from there. A couple more shows, nothing officially in the books. Most of them will probably be next year, early next year, so like February and March. So yeah, just a lot of stuff, just not much that I can share at the moment because, you know, we're cooking.
I don't know if you have I have like what's it called? Like a superstition? No?
Mhm.
Yes? Superstition. Maybe that's the word. That like if I talk too much about things that are cooking, I'm afraid that it won't happen. Like it falls through and then you've told everybody and it's like, oh God.
It's true. Yeah, no, there are a few people who say that you have to work in silence.
Yeah.
Work in silence. That's the best way because, you know, like you said, you know, something can happen where you've told everybody something was going to happen. And then for whatever reason, it doesn't fully happen either at all or just not at the time that you said it was. And then you get all these people asking you about it and you feel kind of like a jerk or you feel like a dummy for having to say like, oh, it didn't happen yet.
It's embarrassing. Yeah.
It's coming soon. Big things coming soon as you're putting the clown makeup on.
In Spanish, I see a lot of memes of se vienen cositas. And it's like, dude, you got like,
oh my God. I'm good. That's so funny.
You got like 3 followers se vienen cositas. And they're like, fuck.
Yeah.
No offense. Everybody works hard. Everybody starts somewhere.
For sure.
No, but I'm excited about Trauma. Something that I also love about Sick Enough is the music videos and the creativity behind them. And no shade to any other band because those videos are just as much fun. But like the ones where they're like, oh, everybody come to my show. And then you get a music video of their song being played at the show.
Yeah.
You guys take it another step. You have a whole artistic direction. They're very funny. They're very parody-ish.
Oh, yeah.
So is Trauma going to have a music video?
So, yeah, there is going to be a visual for sure. I would love to do something that aligns more with what we've done with our last few songs. Probably won't be something that elaborate, just because we're just trying to see what makes more sense for us, because music videos are so fun, and what comes out of it, especially with the people that we work with, shout out to Domenica, amazing director. We've been kind of wondering about how music videos are looking towards the future, because now with things like TikTok and whatnot, there's a lot of artists that are not even putting out music videos anymore. They just release a song, just make like 1,000 TikToks, and then it works. So I kind of don't want to go all in on that approach, but I do want to have some kind of visuals there. But I'm starting to think like, let's see what we do. But we are going to have some video. It probably won't be anything to like our other stuff. But we do have other songs that will have music videos that fall along to that.
Okay.
Maybe not for Trauma, but we have like a laundry list of different ideas and concepts that we want to go for. And just thinking about it, I'm so excited.
For Trauma, we're going to get the flyer of everybody come to the show. We're recording a music video.
Well, we kind of did that concept with Perfect, sort of, kind of. So for context, our song Perfect, it talks about being a perfectionist. And given how I just kind of told the story of how we started, aligns heavily with what I'm about to share. The music video concept was, we're finally playing our first show ever. But the thing is, because of how long I've taken to release stuff, because of being a perfectionist, we're old men at this point. So we're playing our first show as a pop punk band when we're like in our 80s.
Yeah,
and
I remember that one.
And we're playing in a church, and it's empty. Like there's 4 or 5 people there, and they're obviously all like they are not vibing.
No.
But yeah, so we kind of took that concept already. We're just making fun of it. But yeah, we love to have fun with our music videos and just kind of take things not too seriously. But we also like to do a good job at it. Yeah.
No, and yeah, their director is incredible. I see their name in the beginning and stuff, and it's awesome work.
We love her.
It's that kind of work that when you watch a music video, you can tell it's their work. Absolutely. Which is impressive to have that sort of branding for directors, at least. Yeah,
she also helps a lot with our creative direction too. Yeah. So she I'll reach out to her and kind of have a general idea or concept. I'll give references and stuff, and then she's like, okay, give me a bit, and then she'll cook up an entire slide deck of basically further elaborating on the concept I had, and she nails it every single time.
I
She
love working with
totally
people
gets
like
it.
that. I love
Yes.
working with people that just understand
Exactly.
what vibe you're on.
Exactly.
Hold on to them. Hold on to her.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's not leaving.
No, she's fine. Super cool. I want to jump back away from Sick Enough and everything. I
Yeah.
want to hear about your scene phase, your emo phase, how it was growing
It's
up
not
really
a
quick.
phase. What are you talking about?
I know. It's not a phase.
Oh boy. Yeah, so my my emo phase. So it was weird because my whole like elementary to high school experience was in a Catholic private school.
Wow.
Yeah, so what I was able to do to express myself was extremely limited.
Mhm.
Like I couldn't even have my hair past like my forehead.
No, they make you cut your hair like super
Yeah.
short. Yeah.
So when you're listening to My Chemical Romance and really trying to fit in with all the other people, and like you're seeing all these photos on like MySpace and Tumblr of like these, scene kids that everyone's obsessing over, and you're like, that looks so cool. I want to be just like them. And then you're trying to grow out your bang, and then they're like, you gotta cut your hair. It was sad. It was definitely sad. But then I feel like that's why now I'm like dyeing my hair blue and doing all stuff. It's like I'm an adult. No one can tell me anything. I feel like part of me was like, I'm gonna dye my hair blue and then go to my principal in middle school and be like, tell me to cut my hair now. Tell me to change my hair now. But no, that's extra petty for no reason. But yeah, that would be that's kind of how it was back then. It was just very limited and just having to find other ways to like express myself
Right.
because with a Catholic private school you can only do so much. And then of course the typical statements of like you're listening to like satanic music, blah blah blah.
Especially being Hispanic. Like
100%. Yeah, I mean my mom was definitely extremely supportive. I was and still am a huge MCR fan. I mean we did a cover of I'm Not Okay, which I was like, we need to do it.
yeah.
It's like it's staying on the set indefinitely, no questions asked. It's not changing. But yeah, I was a huge fan of theirs, and my mom was super supportive of that. My first concert was MCR.
That's such a flex.
Yeah, Project Revolution 2008.
Wow.
It was Lincoln Park because I believe Project Revolution was their concert. MCR, Taking Back Sunday, him, Placebo, Medina Lake. Actually, no, they didn't play that day. Mindless Self-Indulgence, The Bled. I feel like I'm missing somebody, but that was the majority of it. But yeah, that was MCR like in their prime. Black Parade had just come out like I think 8 months from that point or so.
Yeah.
Or no, it's been like a year, I think. I can't remember when specifically, but yeah, that was like their prime. And I bought tickets for when we were young, and I was like debating on going. I'm ending up not going, and I was sad about it, but I just had to remind myself like, hey, I saw them like in their prime. It's okay. I don't have to go.
No, when it's one of your favorite bands, you don't care how many times. Like if I could just follow Pierce Sabale around on every tour, I would.
Totally get that. Totally get that. I would totally do the same.
Yeah, I saw them at the one that they did with the Used, the Creative Control tour, and then they were coming around again, and my mom was like, "Why are you're gonna go see the same band?" And it's like, I'll see them as many times as they come down here.
It never gets old.
But it never gets old.
It never gets old.
Play me all of Selfish Machines on repeat every day. It's all good.
His banter is gonna be different in every show. You don't get it.
No, but yeah, listening to the satanic music, it's funny because when I was younger, I was like, oh, the songs need to be screamy and stuff, and obviously my mom doesn't like that. But now I'm so proud I've gotten my mom into pop punk. I was showing her Man Overboard yesterday, and she was like, yeah, this music's nice. I was like, yeah, I know, this is what I love.
For sure, yeah.
So it is a cultural thing too, where it's like, and especially religious Catholic school, that's a little rough. But I'm glad you got through it. I'm glad because I'm sure at the time it was super frustrating and upsetting to not be able to do these things. Like right now you can laugh at it because it wasn't the end of the world, but at that point it was.
Yeah, in a way, also it does serve as inspiration for like lyrical content in some way, shape, or form. For people who've been in Catholic school, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Catholic trauma, what up? But yeah, that's it's it kind of is what it is. But yeah, I mean we did the best we could with the situation that we were in. And
it worked out okay in the end.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay. So I want to jump into the ick list. It's a game.
Ooh.
Basically, I'm going to read an ick. You have to tell me if you think it's a red flag, a beige flag, or a green flag.
Okay.
A beige flag is like,
Yeah.
I'm cool with it, but I can see how it bothers someone.
Very familiar. Yes.
They're over competitive.
Over competitive. Oh man, it really depends. I'm just gonna go simply by the statement over competitive. I'm gonna say beige flag. I can understand how that can be a red flag. It very much depends on how they react to losing. If their reaction to losing is to like lose their mind and punch a hole in the wall, red flag, 100%.
Right.
But if they're just like, if they just get really into something, then I can see how that can be a green flag, because it's like, okay, they have a lot of passion, and you know, sometimes you want somebody like that who cares a lot and really wants to make things the best that they can.
Right. So, okay, it's the reaction, not the...
It's more so the reaction
being
that
so.
determines that answer.
Okay.
But yeah.
They believe in conspiracy theories.
Also a beige flag, I think. Ultimately, I'm sorry. I'm such a like, it's a Libra in me. I'm just trying to like balance it out, seeing both sides. But yeah, how far down the rabbit hole they go. Like, because conspiracy theories are fun. Like, even I believe in a few of them just for the heck of it. But if you're like...
I'm talking like 9/11 isn't real, Sandy Hook didn't happen.
Okay,
the
red
clouds
flag.
are genetically
All right, red flag.
modified.
Easy, red flag. Red flag. I was thinking more like, oh yeah, Tupac's still alive. Like,
Oh,
that
yeah,
type
no,
of conspiracy.
That's harmless.
Right.
But no, I'm talking about like...
Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay, that's why I wasn't sure about the definition.
My mom had a chiropractor once who believed in all these theories, so I was like, I don't know, like 10, and he's like, yeah, 9/11 didn't happen, and I was like eating it up. He's like, there's this documentary.
It's like, I saw it on TV. What are you talking about?
That was right.
My all-time favorite band was started because of 9/11.
Right? Emo kids know that 9/11 was real.
Exactly. Yeah, emo kids especially understand, because that's what inspired My Chemical Romance to even start.
They clap when the plane lands. I see that happening in a music video for you.
Oh yeah. I personally like it doesn't annoy me. I just kind of look in like, I guess, major side eye when it happens. But for me, I'm gonna say red flag.
Red flag.
Personally, red flag.
They have a bad tattoo.
Bad tattoo. How bad? Like what do we define as bad? Is it like a person's face, like just bad quality, or like bad in the sense that like it's a message or something that is considered like frowned upon?
Bad as in it's done poorly, or it's just a poorly done concept?
Done. Okay.
Not like offensive or anything. It just looks bad.
I'll say beige, because they probably do want to get it fixed, but just haven't had the time to do it, or the money. Tattoos are expensive, so
that part. Last one. They don't know how to ride a bike.
Oh, I feel like anybody can learn. The
world is your oyster.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't bother me. I'd say for me, is the answer? I wouldn't wave any flag on it personally, because it's like, you can learn. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's an appropriate answer or a valid answer. Do I have to pick a flag?
It's a green flag, because it doesn't.
Green.
It's not like, oh, I wouldn't date that person because they don't know how to
green
ride a
flag
bike.
was like, it's like, yes, good.
No, it's more like a. It's not gonna
Okay, fair. So
affect my relationship with that person. So
green flag then.
green flag. They don't know how to ride a bike. You're good with Eddie.
Yeah, it's okay. But you can learn. I mean, if you're just gonna not want to learn, because I do like biking personally, and if they're not willing to learn, then it becomes a red flag, because it's like, you don't want to do stuff like, because I'm the type of person that I would love to do what my partner likes, just because it's, more quality time, and you get to see them being passionate about something, and it's like, you kind of want to share with them in that.
Yeah.
So I figured like, should be the same, vice versa.
I can respect that. All right, Eddie. This is your shameless plug moment for Sick Enough. Go ahead and let that camera know everything they need to know about Sick Enough right now.
So if you're a fan if you want MySpace to come back, you should follow us. If you used the XD face at any point in your life, both past, present, and in the future, you should follow Sick Enough. We're on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, all that stuff. Just at Sick Enough Band. Music videos coming up, new songs coming up, new shows on the way. Just follow us on social media. You'll see everything we got going on there. And really appreciate you having me on.
No, I appreciate you coming out. I think we're going to start with baby steps to your ultimate goal and bring back the XD face. I'm going to personally start using it again.
Absolutely.
And you guys make sure to go follow Sick Enough to stay tuned to everything that they have coming up, and follow and subscribe to the Senior Citizen Podcast. We'll see each other next week.